Hey guys, it's ItsSMOGONdevo back at it with some more Rainbow Cup content. Probably the last little bit of Rainbow Cup content here. So here we are with the tournament footage. Finally getting this out to you. I just did my tournament a day ago. Don't know when I'll be uploading this, but a day from whenever I'm recording these voiceovers. Very fun experience. Really stressful in some of these battles. A lot of them came down pretty close. But I'm happy to report that I did manage to win. Kind of happy that the Rainbow Cup is over. I'm feeling myself getting really burnt out. I'm not sure if it's the cup specifically or maybe PvP as a whole. I don't know, so I think I'm going to maybe take a short break. I work on the infographic stuff slowly in my own time. I don't really want to get drained from this game because I really do like playing it, but right now it's starting to feel a little bit, I don't know how to word it, I guess just not the same, and I don't want to release like lower content, or I don't want to push out like lower quality content or do something I'm not enjoying. Not saying I'm going to go on a very long break, just want to take a little bit of time to myself to breathe, you know. I just want to take some time to do me, and then I'll get back to the Jungle Cup, push out the infographic. I still have a ton of practice videos ready to come out, so that's all going to come in due time, but give me a little bit of time to rest up, guys, and then we'll get back into PvP. Anyways, moving along with the rest of the video. So, typical fashion for my tournament videos, what we're going to do is we're going to break down the team. I'm not going to pull up sims like I did in my Nightmare Cup. I'm just kind of going to talk over my choices, explain where I ended up. If you've been following the practice videos, you'll actually be able to track this progress and can probably already guess my team. But I'm going to walk you through it, explain why I picked the mon that I picked, and then maybe as I form some of my threes, you might gain a bit more of the perspective I was going with. But yeah, so we'll do the team overview, and then we'll just jump into the battles. The battles are going to be twofold. First, we'll look at the team, I'll break it down, explain what I'm thinking. Then we'll check out the battles and I'll narrate that and walk you through it as we go along. So let's just jump straight into the team overview and not waste any more time. Well, here it is. The team that actually let me win my Rainbow Cup. We got Ninetales, Exeggutor, Quagsire, Lapras, Azu, and Venusaur. Really solid bunch. Might be a lot different than the typical teams you see, like the Reddit Dog deck team with, I forget what that is, it's like Quagsire, Venusaur, Charizard, Fortress, Lantern, something like that. See that team a lot actually, but I wanted to do something a little different. I had an idea in my head. Obviously, I started with Quagsire and Venusaur. Early on in the meta, when the cup was announced, we immediately knew that Quagsire and Venusaur was going to be the duo to beat. You know, they have amazing coverage, and this is going back to the infographic I made, I guess. But together they have incredible coverage, and they basically beat each other's weaknesses. So that was definitely the starting point. The next thing I looked at was a confusion user. I wanted something that could handle both of them. So initially, I was messing around with Slowpoke a lot. It was pretty cool, I liked it for what it was, but I ended up getting my hands on a Legacy Exeggutor, and it just was putting in so much work for me, and I got really used to it. I started off with Seed Bomb and Solar Beam, but over time I realized Solar Beam was a bit of an overkill and Psychic was probably the better move. Seed Bomb usually would kill the targets you needed it to anyways. Another thing on the movesets actually, my Quagsire I ended up with Acid Spray. I just like the utility of being able to set up further plays and helping your other teammates with it a bit more. I was finding that I actually wasn't using Sludge Bomb all that much, and Earthquake didn't really feel like it was too necessary either. So yeah, I ended up just going with Stone Edge and Acid Spray. And you'll see Acid Spray put in a lot of work for me in the tournament. It certainly helped in my practice videos too, but putting that aside, I don't want to spend too much time on like movesets for Quagsire. Yeah, Exeggutor I really ended up enjoying. It was a solid Pokemon and helped me out with Quagsire and Venusaur. So the next step was a Fire type. I had played around the Charizard extensively, but I ended up shifting to Ninetales. I preferred Ninetales. I messed around with the Flamethrower variant, but eventually I ended up at Solar Beam, because I preferred Solar Beam because it would help me actually fight back against the counters for Ninetales. Charizard has Blast Burn, which is really cool, it does a lot of damage, but Solar Beam would straight up one-shot. And yeah, I was finding that I wasn't actually using Flamethrower with Ninetales when I had it. It's nice for things like Fortress, but I typically liked to burn a shield versus Fortress and farm them up and try to get off a Solar Beam on the counter for Ninetales coming in. So maybe it was just my playstyle being a bit different, but wasn't really finding I was needing the charge move fire damage, because Psyshock and Solar Beam were more than enough for me. But with this 4, so Venusaur, Quagsire, Exeggutor, and Ninetales, I was immediately very well off against electric types. So I used that to my advantage in my next pick, which was Azu. I knew from the get-go I wanted to use Azu. It has crazy positives across the board, beats pretty much anything. Obviously it can lose to Quagsire and Venusaur, but in the mid to late game when situations are not even, Azu is actually able to take on both of them. Venusaur doesn't want to take too many Ice Beams. Quagsire doesn't really want to take the bubble damage, especially if it's sprayed, or Ice Beam or Play Rough really, so Azu can put in work against pretty much everything in the meta, except for like electrics, but I'm very strong against them. It helps out with the confusion users too, which at this point I figured I was kind of weak to either or. So I really did like Azu. And again, with the core of my team, Ninetales, Exeggutor, Quagsire, and Venusaur, I had excellent support to handle those electric types. So the last slot now, Lapras. Took a very long time for me to decide this. You know, I bounced around between like Blastoise, Lantern, Mantine, even tried Fortress a little bit there, just a bunch of weird stuff before I finally settled on Lapras. For the longest time, I thought that I wanted additional Quagsire and Venusaur coverage in this slot, but as like the meta kind of moved on, I realized Mantine Fortress teams were a growing problem, and they were pretty annoying to go against for my team. So I started to look at harder counters. Oh, by the way, I started with Blastoise because I thought I would prefer that extra Quagsire coverage, but yeah, so I ended up looking at like things like Lantern to just completely handle Mantine. Can win in like a 0-2 shield deficit or something, or 0-1, I forget, but it can put in a lot of work against Mantine, and it does well against Fortress too. So I really liked it there, but it felt kind of lackluster, and it was like really just wasn't doing as much as it really needed to. So I guess I realized that that slot also did need to handle Quagsire and Venusaur, which Lantern couldn't do. But I was having a lot of difficulty really trying to place this. I mean, Blastoise seemed okay. It had Ice Beam for Venusaur, handled Quagsire, put in work versus Fortress, and it tied Mantine. But it didn't quite beat Mantine. Lantern just couldn't really pull up versus Quagsire and Venusaur. Mantine, similar situation to Blastoise really, tie Mantine. But Lapras, you know, it's pretty well rounded. It doesn't really lose hard to anything in this meta except electric types, similar to Azu, but I do have a strong foundation for that. It can farm Venusaur into 2 shields. It can get Quagsire real low, if not kill, if you piggyback. And it just has like amazing matchups versus almost everything in the meta except those electric types. So really Lapras was kind of that glue I needed in my team. Practiced with it a little bit, yeah, and I ended up really liking it. So it's definitely the last member on my team, and I'm very happy I chose it because it helped me a lot in my tournament. So yeah, that's pretty much why I picked each of these Pokemon. I started off with Quagsire and Venusaur. I slowly developed the core with Exeggutor and Ninetales, and then I just kind of added 2 Pokemon that could help me out generally across the meta, which were covered fairly well by the rest of my team. Their biggest fear, obviously, is the electric types, which the rest of the team can handle for them. So yeah, here we go. This is my winning Rainbow Cup team. Really fun series to play in. I'm glad it's over at the same time though. I think it's about time to put Rainbow Cup aside and move on to something else. So now we're just going to jump into the first team overview and then look at the battles there. Yeah, let's get over there then. And here we are with the first battle versus Tanya. Her team's pretty cool. The Kingdra was interesting to see. The Victory Bell was immediately scary to me. I hadn't practiced against a whole lot of Razor Leaf users, but they really do put in a lot of work, especially versus my team with the triple water. So that was definitely something I was thinking about, the Victory Bell matchup. But looking at the rest of her team, I noticed that Quagsire can put in a fair amount of work. I mean, it's going to beat everything but Victory Bell and Quagsire really, but the Mirror isn't really a pro or a con, so she's very weak to Quagsire, I noticed. Because of Victory Bell, I knew I needed to figure out something to beat it. I decided that I wanted to rely on my Venusaur to handle the Victory Bell. But besides that, you know, Venusaur had a lot of positives. Could help out with the Mirror Quagsire as well. Beats Lantern, beats Kingdra. If it lands enough Frenzy Plants, it can really start steamrolling on the Mantine, and Ninetales doesn't really want to take Sludge Bomb either. So I liked Quagsire and Venusaur together, and if I'm being honest with you, I really didn't know what to use in the last slot. Everything seemed a bit risky to me. I was kind of scared of Exeggutor because of the Ninetales and Mantine. Ninetales, she has 3 waters in the Mirror, not to mention Kingdra. Lapras is a similar position to Azu. Both of them I was kind of nervous about Victory Bell. So if I'm being honest, I didn't really know what to bring in that last slot. I decided that I would go Azu, just hoping that I could land it into Kingdra or something and maybe get off some mileage there, but yeah, wasn't too sure. Knew for sure that I wanted that Quagsire in there. I figured I would lead it because it seemed like the safest lead out of all of those options. Didn't think she was going to lead the Victory Bell. So yeah, I decided to lead Quagsire, and then I kept my Azu and Venusaur in the back pretty much. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this battle. We're going to see if the Quagsire lead paid off. But yeah, that Victory Bell was definitely taunting me. Anyways, let's just go ahead and check out the battle now. Alright, so jumping into this battle, we have that Quagsire lead and the Azu and Venusaur in the back. Really, again, just hoping I don't see the Victory Bell in the lead. If I did, I was just going to have to switch out to my Venusaur. No real other option there, but I lead Quagsire into her Ninetales. I guess she thought I might bring the Venusaur in. But yeah, so she's going to switch out, and I'm going to farm up a bit of energy. She brings in Mantine, so I'm not going to switch out here. I'm just going to go for this Stone Edge right away. I don't think Mantine was the best switch for her, and I know I can take an Aerial Ace, so I'm going to let this one come through. Yeah, I'm not sure if she tapped all the way there, but now I decide to go for a Shield Bait here. Get the Acid Spray off, and I do get it. So I'm going to farm a slight bit of energy up on Quagsire over here, and then switch out to Azu. The Mantine's locked in with a debuff, and I have a shield advantage. So I switch into Azu here because I am scared of that Victory Bell, and I had a feeling she was going to bring it. So my plan here was just to chip down Mantine as far as I could with bubble damage because it was debuffed. And then if Victory Bell were to come in, I would have some Ice Beams ready to go for it. So we chip it down fully and farm up some energy. Go for this Ice Beam straight away expecting Victory Bell, and lo and behold, she switches in her Victory Bell. So I get off that Ice Beam, she doesn't shield. And then I'm actually able to get a second Ice Beam because of all the energy I had farmed. And she will shield this one, thankfully. So now I'm just going to chip it down as much as I can with these bubbles. Obviously, Azu's going to go down. But now I can bring in Venusaur. I know she has Ninetales in the back. And just chip down this Victory Bell with fast moves. She's not able to get a charge move, so really cool for me. Now Ninetales comes in. Get this Sludge Bomb off, no shields, so this is going to connect. I farmed up some energy on Quag, so I'll switch it out and then immediately go for this Stone Edge. So I think I played that right with the Mantine farm. Very good play, I think. Yeah, so going into the next battle, didn't really feel like Venusaur was doing as much for me versus Victory Bell, so I really wanted to have something to absolutely knock it down. Looking back, I probably should have ran Exeggutor and Azu, just dropped Azu, but I decided to lead Exeggutor expecting the victory lead with Quag and Azu in the back. Don't get the Victory Bell, but I do get Lantern. So now my play is just to farm up as much energy as I can. If I can get to Psychic, it means that I'll have 2 Seed Bombs. So She goes for a charge move, but I'm going to shield because I need to keep Executor happy. But now I do have almost 2 seed bombs here, so go for the first one, burn a shield. And now I'm hoping to actually knock out the Lantern. So I go for my second seed bomb here, and she actually decides to shield twice. So I didn't expect that, but it's alright. Now I'll just destroy this Lantern with another seed bomb. Lantern goes down. And now she brings in the Victory Bell. So my Executor is really weak at this point. So I'm only able to chip it down to about a quarter, and now I'm like really shook. So I go into Quagsire hoping to get a Stone Edge or something, but she has the Leaf Blade. I didn't think I'd be able to build to it, so I let Quagsire go down. Really nervous at this point, so now my play here, I'm just trying to chip it down as much as I can with bubbles and farm my energy. I have no idea what's in the back, so I'm hoping it's something Azu can deal with a ton of energy. So I managed to survive long enough to build up this energy, and she brings in Kingdra. So I get to go for this play rough right here. Take out a huge chunk of its health. No shields, so now my Ice Beam will actually be enough to knock out the Kingdra. That Victory Bell was making me sweat though, oh my goodness. But yeah, so we'll take the first round right here. Very good game. I didn't realize Razor Leaf would be putting in that much work versus me, but yeah, it was pretty scary to go against. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the next battle now. Yeah, so here we are. We're going to be battling Pharaoh Vash 1. You might remember him from the Nightmare Cup tournament, where it was actually his first tournament there, so he's coming back for his second tournament. Glad to see him come out again. He's picked a really interesting team, I do have to say. I haven't really seen a lot of double grass, but it definitely is kind of intimidating for a team like mine. The Scizor and the Electabuzz are interesting choices. I know he didn't have a Fortress, so he opted for his Scizor. And I suppose Electabuzz can perform kind of like Raichu. But yeah, this was a very different kind of team. I didn't see Quagsire or Venusaur on it. So admittedly, I wasn't 100% sure how to run against it. I was really worried about both Bayleaf and Meganium. The rest of it, you know, I've kind of played against. I've played against Fortress in the past, and I'm familiar with Scizor's playstyle, and I know about Electabuzz and Raichu. Blastoise and Charizard aren't anything too crazy for me either, but Meganium and Bayleaf together was kind of... I wasn't really sure what to make of it, to be honest. It was kind of weird. Definitely something I hadn't prepared for. So really, I just kind of tried to form the team as best as I could. So I started by looking at Quagsire. I noticed that it could potentially beat half of his team, really just worrying about that Double Grass and Blastoise. So what I decided to do was I paired Quagsire and Venusaur together. Really good duo, excellent matchups between each other, but still I was really worried about that Double Grass, so I ended up bringing Ninetales as well in the first game. My idea was, you know, use Quagsire and Venusaur to beat down his entire team. When Venusaur falls, I would have Ninetales as a backup, or vice versa, to help out with the Double Grass. Kind of wanted to keep Venusaur around for the Blastoise though as well. But yeah, definitely took a lot of time to really sit there and think about what to bring versus his team. Wasn't easy by any means. It was really messing with my head, I have to admit. Really cool team, at least for the mind games. So let's go ahead and jump into the battle. I'm going to go ahead with the Venusaur lead, and we'll see if that actually worked out for me. Alright, so we go ahead with that Venusaur lead. Quagsire to support Venusaur, and Ninetales to help out Quagsire a bit more. So I lead Venusaur into Scizor, which is probably one of the worst matchups I could have led into. So I farm it up a little bit though. And then I decide to switch out before he can get what I think is going to be an Executor to Ninetales. It's a Night Slash, so Ninetales doesn't take it as well as I hoped. But now I can just chip it down with these Fire Spins to a ton of damage. He switches in Bayleaf, which I don't necessarily agree with, but get this Psyshock off. I'm going to get a shield, which is great, and now I can just farm him down with Fire Spins. Get another Psyshock off. And I actually managed to draw the second shield, which is good for me. I'm going to burn one too, because I do need to knock out this Bayleaf. Goes for Ancient Power. Fire Spin damage is actually able to knock it out. I thought I might be able to get to another Psyshock, but I'm not able to get to another Psyshock, and Charizard comes in and just knocks out my Ninetales. But now he has no shield, and I can bring in Quagsire and just build up to the Stone Edge. He's going to get to a move before me. I shielded just in case it's a Blast Burn. I wanted to keep Quagsire alive to knock out the Scizor. So I farm up a little bit more energy, and then I go for a Stone Edge. Because I farmed up that slight bit of energy, I'm almost at a second Stone Edge, and I can launch it into the Scizor right away. Knock out the Scizor there, and take the first game. Bayleaf putting in work. I was really nervous about Double Grass, but I do decide to actually switch up my team a bit. I take out Quagsire and I bring in Azu instead. Yeah, I don't quite remember exactly what I was thinking, but I knew I wanted to preserve Venusaur and Ninetales. I guess I thought I could catch something cool with the Azu lead, but I didn't get anything but the Meganium, so I farm up one bubble and switch out right away. I go into I go into my Ninetales, and then I'm just trying to chip it down. I notice he doesn't switch right away, so I'm pretty sure that this is an Earthquake coming in. And then I get off my Psyshock, hoping to burn a shield in return. I do get the shield, which is great, and now I'll farm up his Meganium a bit more, but he'll switch out into Blastoise. So here I try to make a big move and go for Solar Beam, but I can't get to it. Don't want to burn this final shield on Ninetales. I figure there's no point if I'm just going to be at a worse position after I burn the shield on Blastoise. So now I switch into Venusaur. I know I have the shield, so my plan here is just to farm down this Blastoise as much as I can. Goes for a Hydro Cannon. I shielded expecting the Ice Beam, but now I'm going to try and draw his final shield. Do get it, which is awesome, and then I'll farm up a bit more energy and go for my Frenzy Plant. Didn't really want to risk the Ice Beam because I did need Venusaur to handle his Meganium. Knock out Blastoise there. Brings in Electabuzz. Awesome for me. Venusaur is able to get to another Frenzy Plant and knock out the Electabuzz. I didn't want to let Venusaur get any lower than it already was. So now we're in versus Meganium, and I really thought this was going to be an Earthquake and the end of the game for me, but it was a Frenzy Plant, so Venusaur tanks it, and then I'm able to get off my own Sludge Bomb, and because of that, I'm able to knock out Meganium. Had he farmed up just a little bit more energy and gotten an Earthquake off on Venusaur, I don't quite know that Azu would have been able to pull through. But there we go, we'll take the second game. Stressful match, just because I had no idea how to play against this team, but there it is. Alright, so here we are in round 3. Obviously, me and New Archaic, Ben, we have to go up against each other in every tournament we play in round 3. I don't know why it works out this way, but literally every tournament I've ever been in that he's part of, round 3, me and him are going to go off, just like Nightmare Cup. So here it is. He's going to be running Venusaur, Fortress, Charizard, Quagsire, Azu, and Lantern. The typical Reddit team. I don't know why so many people have taken a liking to this team, but I see it come up a lot, and I don't know if people realize, but this team is very weak to Quag. I mean, if you look at it, Fortress, Charizard, Azu, and Lantern are all weak to Quag, and all he really has is the Venusaur and the Mirror, so huge hole for Quag. I do see that right away, so I knew that I wanted to try to lead Quag, but otherwise, I just kind of wanted to play it safe the first round, go for the safest lineup I had, so I went for Quag, Venu, and Azu. I was kind of worried about Azu and Charizard and Fortress there, so Azu is a nice addition as well. But anyways, let's jump into the battle and see how well my strategy paid off. Alright, so jumping into this battle, Quagsire lead with Azu and Venusaur in the back. Again, one of the safest leads, or safest teams of 3 that I know of for the Rainbow Cup, at least the way I like to run it. Of course, we get Quag into the Quag lead. So, just like my practice videos, what I like to do in the mirror situations for Mon like Quagsire, piggyback as much as I can. So I piggy him here, and he's going to actually go ahead and go for a Earthquake. pretty deadly to go up against, but now I can actually get off this Acid Spray. It's not going to shield it, which is great for me. And then I'll go for a Stone Edge. Do a sizable chunk to him, and I'm trying to get to another Acid Spray to try to get a shield from him, but he is able to get to his charge move first, so I'm going to let him hit the Stone Edge. Maybe I should have kept it alive, but anyways, we bring in Venusaur and then knock out his Quagsire, but he's going to bring in Fortress, so I have to switch out here. He switches his Fortress out to his own Azu. So not the greatest of matchups for me to be in. It's just the mirror, so I try to Piggy him again, and I do get that Piggy. And then I'll go for a Play Rough here. Yeah, so the mirror match, what you really just want to do is land as many Play Roughs as you can. If you go for a bait, you can kind of get an energy lead. But I don't really want to go for any baits here, I just want to try to get as much damage as I can. So I do shield this one coming in, but he luckily does get a bait off on me, so I'm at a worse position all of a sudden. But I can get to my next Play Rough, likely because of the slight energy lead and the piggyback I had on him already. He won't shield, so I try to switch in Venusaur and do something cheeky, maybe get on some extra damage on the Azu and keep my own Azu healthy. But I switch in on a charge move, so he's able to switch out and then bring in his Fortress. He still has a shield, so this is not really looking that great for me. I can get off one more Frenzy Plant to chip down Fortress, which is really what I was trying to do. So I get that little bit of chip, my Venusaur does go down, and now he does have the charge move ready. I have to shield just in case it's an Earthquake. Goes for the Rock Tomb. So now I wanted to just farm him down as much as I could with bubble damage, but I knew I wouldn't be able to because I was already so low. And he had a shield anyways, so he's able to pull up an advantage on me. Azu's now kind of in a really bad position. This Rock Tomb's going to do a lot of damage, and then actually he will be able to knock out my Azu. So didn't have the best team of 3, he unfortunately just had a superior team there. So into the next match, I definitely knew I didn't want to bring Venusaur. I wanted to bring Executor just to cover both Venusaur and Quagsire a bit better. I also dropped out Azu for Ninetales, expecting Fortress to be a threat again. So the golden team's going to get to shine in my tournament footage. We lead Executor into his Quag, so he switches that right away. Little bit of an issue on the switch, but I can bring in my Ninetales now. I'm going to farm him down with the Fire Spin. Obviously going to shield the move coming in, and then I'm able to farm him up a lot. And I have a Solar Beam ready to go. Yeah, so now I'm just waiting to see what he brings in. And I do hear the cry for Azu, so I go straight for the Solar Beam. And he actually lets it connect, so I'm able to do a massive chunk to this Azu. I debated on going for the bait, but I kind of wanted to force a shield and get as even as I could. But because he let me get off that Solar Beam, I'm able to do a ton of work and get his next shield here. He will be able to farm me down a little bit there. So I'm thinking about switching in Executor, but I didn't want to quite take an Ice Beam, so I switch into Quag, knowing I can take an Ice Beam here. Man, that Solar Beam really came in clutch, but now I'm just going to farm him down as much as I can. Can take another Ice Beam here. If that was a Play Rough, it would have hurt a bit more, but now I decide to switch out into Executor when he's low enough, knock him out with a final Confusion. Didn't have to burn any shield here. I'm almost at a Seed Bomb, waiting to see what he brings in, and he does bring in the Quagsire from before, so I farm up a slight bit of energy. Because I farmed up that energy, I'm able to actually build up to 2 Seed Bombs, so I'll get that first shield here. Then I'm going to block his move coming in to keep Executor healthy. And then I can get my second Seed Bomb off and actually knock out his Quagsire. Extremely close match. That switch into Executor definitely paid off. It allowed me, to get off that extra Seed Bomb, but very scary matches there, very close. So this next one, I really just wanted to throw him off as much as possible. And I was kind of expecting the Quagsire lead again because he had done it 2 times already. So even if he didn't, I figured Lapras would be great to handle Venusaur as well. I was willing to go to the 2 shield situation. And I didn't really think he would be able to come up with something versus a triple water. I noticed he hadn't brought Venusaur at all yet either, so really placed my money on the Quagsire lead with no Venusaur, and let's see if it worked out. So we lead into Quagsire, and now I piggyback it to get a slight bit of energy. Shield this move coming in and go for a Surf. Could have went Ice Beam, but I figured why waste the extra energy. First Surf connects and does a ton of damage. Because I piggied him, I can get to a second one. Very quick. He does shield it, so now I'm thinking I will just chip him down with some fast moves. I'm not going to shield this move because I don't want to be at a shield disadvantage. I figure Lapras has done enough already. I know I can tank a first Stone Edge. He'll switch in Fortress, and I saw the switch coming, so I decided to go for my bigger move, Ice Beam here. Probably should have gone Surf, but it's alright. I land that. Now I can bring in my Quagsire, farm up some energy here. Waiting to see what he does, but I get a little impatient and decide to just go for my Stone Edge. There's no point in really farming here. Get that final shield. So now I'm thinking that I'm not going to shield. I thought I could take a Rock Tomb, and I did risk it a bit there, but I had Azu in the back, and my plan was to farm Fortress down worst case. But he has no shield now, so I get this Stone Edge off. I still have my shield. So what I'm doing here, his own Quagsire comes in. I decide to actually shield so that I can knock down his Quagsire with Mud Shots and get off some extra energy. Now I have a ton of energy for whatever comes in. It's an Azu, so I go straight away for an Acid Spray. And because I farm the Quagsire, I'm able to farm up that slight bit of energy I need before I faint to get off a final Stone Edge. And that's going to do a massive chunk to Azu. I switch out to my Azu instead, and then all I have to do is get to a Play Rough here. Had I not farmed that Quagsire and gotten off that energy to Acid Spray the Azu, don't know what would have happened there. This was a really close match the whole way through. Good game. Always face off against Ben in round 3, but really stressful there. But yeah, so we go ahead and take that match, and then we move on to the final round. Alright, so here we are with the final battle of the cup. We're going to go up against my friend Mike. You're going to see he has a Charizard, Kingdra, Typhlosion, Ninetales, Tentacruel, and Exeggutor. Very interesting team, actually. I hadn't quite faced anything like this in any of my practice videos. He actually, at the end of it, told me he ran the same team the entire way through with only subbing out one Mon. Basically, if he saw a Fortress, he'd bring in a Fire type. So he ran triple Fire just to scare Fortress, which was pretty smart. He would lead Tentacruel with Kingdra in the back, basically try to get Acid Sprays off and then farm people down. Exeggutor to handle those Quagsire and Venusaurs. Really interesting strategy, and it definitely worked out for him. It got him all the way to the end. But my team was a little bit different. So I actually didn't record the first battle. Either that or I lost it, I'm not sure. But I also ran the same 3 for all 3 of the battles that we did. Yes, we did 3 battles. In the first battle, you're going to see that there's a little bit of trouble for both of us switching out. We weren't quite sure if it was lag. So I ended up agreeing to doing a rebattle. So I don't have the first battle, unfortunately, but I will be able to show you the second and third battle. All 3 of the battles, again, we both use the same team, so there isn't... so hopefully that's okay with you guys, but yeah, so let's look at his team now. So looking at his team, I did see the Zard, Typhlosion, Ninetales, Tentacruel, and Kingdra. Basically, his entire team is weak to Quagsire, except for that Exeggutor. So I knew right off the bat that I was going to be leading Quagsire here. I didn't know if he was going to bring a Fire or not, but because of all those Fires, I was kind of tempted to run Triple Water again. I knew Azu would be great for that Kingdra, and I did see Tentacruel, so I had a feeling I might see Kingdra come up again, because I've played against a player who runs Triple Spray, and he loves having either his Kingdra or his Fortress in the back after Acid Spray's put in work. So I saw Tentacruel and Kingdra and kind of expected them to show up. I didn't quite know what was going to be the third option, but I really did like that Triple Water setup, And I figured if he did happen to bring that Executor, you know, Quagsire's Acid Sprays would help out, and Azu can straight up win. And Lapras' Ice Shards would just chip it down. So yeah, I really like the triple water setup. I decided to lead Quag because of all these positive matchups, and then I kept my Azu and Lapras in the back. So we're going to go ahead and see how this actually paid off for me. Again, no first battle, but you will see the second battle and the replay of the second battle. So let's check that out now. So here we are. Like I said, I'm going to be running triple water. I do run it in all 3 of the battles. You only see 2, of course, but he's going to bring the same team as well. So I managed to lead Quag into Tentacruel round 1. So here I just want to build up energy. In the first game I played a little silly. I shielded earlier than I should have. Like, I knew he didn't have Hydro Pump, but I still decided to shield. So this time around, I knew this was an Acid Spray because I'm familiar with how long it takes to actually get off that Hydro Pump. But now I'll get off my own Acid Spray in return. He doesn't shield it, but he will switch out, and I'll go for another Acid Spray. Just like in the last game, he switches out to his Executor, so of course I'm going to switch out to Lapras. Or try to, but this is where we both had a little weird thing with our switches. He was trying to switch here as well, but couldn't get it. So I'm going to shield this move coming in and just farm away his Executor. Get a nice amount of energy off on it. Just waiting to see what he actually switches in now. Brings back in a Kingdra, so I go for an Ice Beam. I want to do as much damage as I possibly can. He doesn't shield it, which is great for me. And then I can actually get a Surf off over here. Hoping to burn a shield. I don't quite get the shield, but because I was able to land that Surf, I get the simultaneous knockout right here, and we both go down. His final Pokemon's this Tentacruel, so I'm going to just try to get up some energy. I do shield, just I wasn't sure if we had a Hydro Pump or not, and I didn't want to end with Azu versus Tentacruel. But now I do go for Acid Spray, hoping to scare him, and I get that shield, which is awesome. And now I go for my Stone Edge here, hoping to potentially KO, but I figured he would just double shield, and that's exactly what he does. But because he's Acid Sprayed, I'm able to get a ton of damage off with these Mud Shots. And remember, I did Acid Spray him at the beginning, so he was -2 on the debuffs. He does a smart play and launches a Hydro Pump right away into whatever comes in. But unfortunately for him, my Azu is what was in the back. So we take that match, and now here's the replay. Because of the switch issues we kind of had there, I'm not quite sure if it was actually lag or just being in the middle of the animation. But it's okay, decided to agree to the rematch, so we both lead into the Quag and Tentacruel again. We two played a little bit different this time though. I shield this move coming in. Very silly mistake on my part. I knew it wasn't a Hydro Pump, but it's alright. Now I can actually land a Stone Edge. Switches out really well and doesn't decide to shield that. So Lapras is going to chip down the Executor without even having to burn a shield. Now I'm just kind of waiting to see what he brings in. And he will bring in that Kingdra again. So I'll go Surf, hoping to draw a shield. I do get the shield, which is great, so now I'm trying to land my Ice Beam. And I actually go for the Ice Beam here. And it luckily connects, so now I'm just chipping him down with these Ice Shards. Could have went Surf. I didn't realize in the moment I was trying to push for Ice Beam, but it's okay. I switch into Azu, trying to soak up a charge move. Kills Hydro Pump, so Azu soaks that up. Then I can chip it down with the bubble damage. Switch out to my Quag right away. And I go for the Acid Spray here, just in case I end up with Azu versus Tentacruel in the end. He doesn't shield. So I'm actually going to go for a second Acid Spray because I never got both debuffs off, and I will shield. I'm hoping that if I shield, I'll be able to scare him into using his final shield as well. Goes for a Hydro Pump, which was very smart. And I do get that final shield, so now my Mud Shot damage is doing a whole lot, and I'm able to get off this Stone Edge right here, and then knock out the Tentacruel. So we go ahead and take the final match, and this allows us to actually win our Rainbow Cup tournament. yeah, and there you have it. That's my local Rainbow Cup. Very fun experience. I'm very happy with the team I picked. I don't regret a single choice, and unlike the Nightmare Cup, I actually used every member of the team. So Lapras was definitely a great addition. It won me some games here and put in a lot of work in the tournament. Ninetales landing that Solar Beam was absolutely incredible. Yeah, all the picks I used, very satisfied with. You've been with me throughout all of the practice videos and the tournament video too, so you got to see the team develop. Very fun cup, but again, I am feeling quite burnt out by the whole experience. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break just to let myself rest so I don't get too overworked with this PvP stuff, but expect some content coming out as soon as I can. Still working on the analysis, and I have a ton of Jungle Cup practice videos ready to start being edited and voiceovers recorded for. So there's still a lot of stuff I have ready, but again, I'm going to take some time to myself and relax for a bit, edit some videos slowly in my free time and not overwork myself too much. But yeah, so there you go. That's my tournament. We won it 4-0. I do have the remote tournament, but honestly, I am feeling quite burnt out, so I don't think I'm going to upload it. I didn't really play as best as I could have in my final match, again, maybe because I'm feeling this burnt out. I'm not going to upload that one. I'm going to try to shift my focus now to the Jungle Cup. Got a lot of stuff planned there, but yeah, been rambling a little bit too much about that. So if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know, leave a comment, give me a subscription to the channel. Like on the video would be appreciated as well. Yeah, so take care for now.